Right, guys, so I recently done a World Touring Car race at Donington and Race Room. So now I'm going to jump into AMS2 and basically mirror that front wheel drive race using the Mini. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're at Donington Short as well. Yeah, launching a front wheel drive is not my strong point, but let's see how these behave really. So I've had one kind of scoping lap just in practice to see how, how the cars are really. So yeah, initially, like I can tell you that they do behave very similar to the World Touring Car kind of cars in Race Room in terms of like how they turn, how the front wheel drive reacts when the diff locks up a little. The car will want to sometimes pull into a corner, sometimes it'll want to understeer straight on depending on how it is presented and when you pick up the throttle. So very realistic in terms of the front wheel drive configuration. And I have a Honda Integra DC2 as a weekend toy. So it's a high performance car. It's fully modified really at this stage. Racing clutches, has an LSD on the gearbox as standard. So I kind of know how a front wheel drive car should behave, and this is actually quite good. Yeah, it does feel, it does feel how it would happen like when I'm mashing into throttle just before the turning is finished. The diff almost loads up and it's like it won't give you as much turning anymore. It's very, that washy feeling, the steering goes light. It's as if the diff has been taken away from the front purely because the tyres cannot grip up. So yeah, that feeling is feeling's like, modelled quite accurately in this game and in Race Room, it must be said. Race Room do a really good job of the touring cars, I have to say. In terms of how it feels, I think Race Room makes it more obvious what's happening. But AMS2 still captures it perfectly as well. Just to a very slightly different degree of magnitude. But look, it's still there. It's still there. The feeling, the understeer effect, the front end diff, the turn in, how the diff might react on turn in while braking, so you're kind of getting all of that stability or otherwise at the front. It's there as well. Meanwhile, the back of the car will still want to come around, just as any car would. So yeah, it's really good. It's really good. This is great as well. Between the two sims, Race Room with the World Touring Cars front wheel drive setup and this AMS2 with the Minis, they're both absolutely brilliant. They both get it right, in my opinion. And compare that, and I compared it as well when I done the BTCC cars in R Factor. The force feedback of the steering wheel I had to mess around with quite a lot to get it to feel somewhat realistic. And what I mean by that is R Factor has this thing where the amount of feedback is really high, but it's a lot of jolts, it's a lot of bumps, it's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Or at least it feels that way. It doesn't behave the way, it certainly doesn't feel the way a car feels. I'll certainly say that. I'll certainly say that. Like I'd say, it's a bit of a jolty mess, to be perfectly honest and brutal about it. But when you spend a bit of time dialing in a bit of damping and trying to purposely take the sharpness out of the feedback in R Factor, it can become enjoyable then at that stage. But out of the box, yeah, it's not quite there in my opinion. People will say like that sim has like the best FFB in the industry and all of that stuff. I can't agree. Like, certainly not out of the box anyway. And even, to be honest, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I do drive R Factor 2. I've driven the Indy car in it yesterday. In fact, it's the IR18. I've had a great time. But again, the feedback between models is it's so hit or miss. Like, I would take that same force feedback setting that I drove the Indy car in, jump into, let's say, the Ligier LMP2, and there'd be no feedback strength there at all. Hardly, you know. Oh, shit. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Crap. Well. Shit. Yeah, the car has taken on a bit too much damage, I think. Yeah. You know, it's amazing that the slight mistake like that results in being collected. And I had an idea that that could have happened. Try. Yeah. Tell you what, let's maybe retire this and let us see what the race has been like. So let's skip to the end, and let's have a look at the replay. So yeah, as I mentioned in like the previous video with race room and stuff, the you know, graphically, AMS2 is. Why is my replay control not working? There we go. Yeah, so as I said before, like when you look at like race room and compare it to AMS2, like there is a graphical difference for sure. Like AMS2 has much better lighting effects. It looks prettier. Graphically, it's better. And the sounds, I think, in AMS2 are really, really good as well. But there is this, lately I've noticed this overexposure of sound in the replay. You know, if I be quiet, you'll hear crackling. Well, in certain scenes. Let me see if I can, I'll just be quiet as the cars go past. Yeah, you can kind of get hints of it, but that's something I've noticed coming into the sound lately in AMS2, and when you're in the car you don't notice it, like it doesn't seem to be there. It seems to be only on the replays, where the replays might be slightly overexposed on sound. I must have a look at my sound settings to see if that's something on my end, but like my headset is like a Beyer Dynamic, so you know, it's one of the quite expensive one, so it's great quality and all that. And my PC on board has its own, like, you know, dedicated sound area on it. It's running the Asus. It's one of the built-in Asus ones, like super high definition, like, you know, 32-bit audio, 96,000 kilohertz is what I have it set on, but it can go higher. So it shouldn't be on the hardware side. But in terms of driving, anyway, I mean, this felt very similar to the touring car in race room. Very similar. Very enjoyable to drive. It behaved the same. So when the diff locked, when we're accelerating out corners, sometimes you'd get complete wash on the front, where the back obviously squats down, the front lifts up, and then you have the same axle trying to turn the car and deliver power down at the same time. So you know, it's just not going to work. And then likewise, as you return into the corner, the diff on the front would, you know, effectively try to imagine the front end getting stiffer and the back sort of willing to dance around that. Anyone that has a front wheel drive car will be aware of the term lift off oversteer. You have that in this, and you also had it in the race room as well. So yeah, in my opinion, I think both of the Sims do it really well. But AMS2, these minis are absolutely fantastic. Really good for a front wheel drive car. And yeah, I thought I'd just do a bit of front wheel drive racing over the past few days. Like ever since I'd done the BTCC race in Factory, and that video was up as well. I thought I'd jump into race room, do a front wheeler, and jump in here and do the mini. And you know, force feedback aside, like when we're talking about how the car behaves, they all do a really good job. They're all quite accurate. R factor might be slightly overdone a little bit, but it's still accurate to how a front wheel high performance car, stiff kind of race car would feel. In terms of force feedback, I think this and race room are better, in my opinion. Just on that, actually, my force feedback settings for AMS2 here, I have in Fanatec now, I have the overall strength at 48. Damper friction inertia is off, interpolation set to 1. The scaling is set to peak, and then the intensity, force strength, spring strengths, and so on, all of that other stuff down the bottom of Fanalab is just at 100. So yeah, and let me just cancel out this replay before we wrap up, just to kind of show you, I suppose, my my force feedback settings in AMS2, just so you know if you want to match them up with Fanalab. Here they are. So I'm using the default profile. Gain is at 60, boost and FX is off, damping 50, and strength is 0. So what I'm hoping is that by having that as default, FX should come through the physics anyway, you know. But anyway, guys, we'll leave that one there. Hopefully you enjoyed, and yeah, if you're into a front wheel drive racing and stuff, have a look at the Mini. It's a great car. And if you have race room, look at the World Touring cars. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how nice they actually drive. Leave it there, guys, till the next one, and thanks as always for watching.